Gridiron Grinder! Hut hut hike!
All right, we're rolling. It's Wednesday night, but it's Gridiron Grinder time. Hitting it a couple days early this week. I'm Ryan. With me, as always, is my buddy James. Just a couple of dudes hanging out, talking about what's going on in the NFL each week. Tonight's episode 45, getting dangerously close to our first anniversary. Been doing this every week since last June. And for tonight, we're going to start things off with Name That Stadium. After that, we'll hit the news from this past week. And then we're going to do our super early 2021 NFL team record predictions. And last but not least, we'll close things off with question of the week. So, with all that being said, how's it going tonight, James?
It's going good. How's it going with you?
It's going good, man. Going good. I feel a little bit rushed going into it tonight, but we're talking football, so it's always good, man.
Yeah. Uh, got it. I got my records done about 10 minutes or 15 minutes ago, so
I, I'm right there with you. I've got some strong opinions on some teams and just kind of fast and furious had to go through it. But we'll see where the chips fall here tonight, man. All right, well here, let's kick it over to Name That Stadium. So this is a fun part of the show that we do every week. Basically, for those of you who are watching, you can see James is out there traveling the country. He's got a new stadium in his background every week. What we're doing is we're just asking our viewers if you think you know what stadium that is in the background. Hit us up in our comments section. If you're the first person to get it right, we'll give you a special shout out in the next week's show. And so, James, why don't you tell us where you were at last week, man?
last week I was in Cincinnati. It was kind of one of those. I'm really excited for what I see Cincinnati happening in Cincinnati. Like they're on the cusp of being of being right there in the playoff hunt. So I was like, yeah, I'll go with Cincinnati this week.
Gotcha. Well, that's cool. And I think I know where you're at this week, but I won't spill the beans here. And you can let me know later on if I'm right or not. Okay, so that's Name That Stadium. Uh, just doing a quick recap of this past week. Obviously, we've not had a ton of time since our show last Friday. Um, you know, I've not like really accumulated a ton of news, and we know it's that kind of time of year where things get dry. There is some stuff out there I saw just today about Antonio Brown having some knee surgery. Seems like probably, a minor issue for the Bucks, who brought everybody and their mom back this year. But he is one of my Central Michigan homies. I hope he recovers well and everything's good for him to come back and make a strong push this year. Outside of that, man, I don't know. What have you been seeing this week that you think is worth noting here?
Patriots re-signed Hoyer this week again.
Bringing him back, man. I'm sure they're like, hey, we need a strong veteran, smart leader that can help teach the young guy now, and maybe they see something there that they don't think they're going to be able to get out of Cam.
Yeah, that quarterback room though is kind of getting crowded. I think they have four quarterbacks now with drafting Jones. They had re-signed Cam. They have Stidham and then now Hoyer. I mean, that's a lot of quarterbacks for what maybe carry three in the season. So somebody's on the way out.
Yeah, it makes you wonder. It makes you wonder. It makes you wonder who's the odd man out. Stidham, maybe. If they're bringing in Hoyer, they're probably wanting his veteran leadership. Hold the clipboard, tell the guy, hey, this is how you do this is how you do that. Or maybe even Cam. It'd be a bigger move. Maybe they're like, you know what? We're just going to let Mac Jones take the ball and run, man. See you later, Cam. And Hoyer, you got to teach him the ropes. I don't know. I mean, it's a lot of things could happen. You never know with Bill Belichick.
Yeah, what I like all off season, if you the what's been talked about is how Cam's not that player to lead a rookie.
Yeah, I figured that much, man. And yeah, so that's it. Just I guess solidifies the reason why they're bringing Hoyer in.
Yeah, so I mean, it'll be interesting to see who who they end up getting rid of up there. I mean, Stidham didn't do shit last year when he came in. Like he looked terrible when he played for Cam, and then Cam looked like shit last year. So they got to be rolling with Jones if at some point, and I think Cam's going to pitch a fit. So he might just start the season with Jones.
Gotcha. It'll be interesting to see how that one plays out. I guess the one thing that I probably should have been paying more attention to that's definitely worth mentioning is the Denver Broncos hiring Kelly Klein as their director of football operations, executive director of football operations. Um, that did hit the news this week, and it was a pretty big deal for a woman being hired into that high level of a position with an NFL team. And, so that one, hey, giving her a shout out here, a pat on the back, that's good stuff. It's nice to see that kind of movement in the league, man.
Yeah, it is. And well, you have with San Francisco, like one of the assistant coaches, I think, is I forget her name. I've seen commercials about her.
Yeah, Ron Rivera brought her in onto the coaching staff last year, right? Yeah, I know what you're
No,
talking
no,
about.
in San Francisco, not Washington.
Oh,
She's like,
oh yeah, like the wide receivers coach or something.
yeah, something like that.
Man, yeah, I know who you're talking about. I thought Ron Rivera did one in Washington too. Maybe I'm crossing wires here.
I think he did, but I think it was like I don't remember. I don't like it didn't really much hit the news on that one. But I remember what you're talking about. So, I mean, it's possible. But well, I mean, Washington had all that shit last year with the sexual harassment claims and stuff, and the like when whatchamacallit in the building with like the one flight of stairs where guys in the organization would stand under it and watch the ladies walk up the stairs to look up their skirts and shit like that.
That's messed up, man. That's messed up. Those are some desperate dudes.
Yeah.
I don't mean to laugh. I'm laughing like they're pathetic. I'm not laughing in a bad way.
Yeah.
Okay. So news-wise, man, anything else you want to hit on?
The only other thing is as the Lions sign Sewell to his rookie contract fully guaranteed.
Heck yeah. I saw somebody slated him in at right tackle, and I thought, man, you know, he's such a highly rated guy. Just get him in at left tackle and
Hmm.
move Decker. I mean, come on. But okay, maybe there was some logic to that, hey, you bring him in, he had the opt-out year, you start him at right and then you move him over. Okay, whatever works, but yeah, I just I want to see him at left tackle long term.
Yeah. Uh, just glancing, I think the only other one was Tampa Bay and Tennessee are going to be doing joint preseason practices.
Okay, that's good. It's good when teams do that. Usually, I like watching NFL Network. You kind of get the camp fights when the teams cross over like that. It just seems like it takes it up a notch with intensity.
Yeah, I mean those are two interesting teams to join in minicamp because like how where I see where those teams are at, I mean easily that could in theory be a potential Super Bowl matchup.
It could be. Yeah, you're right about that.
And I mean that's why I thought it was the most noteworthy part about it is you have two really solid teams from last year that are joining practices together. I mean 11-5. Both teams were 11-5. Tampa obviously won the Super Bowl, and what Tennessee lost to Baltimore in the second round? No, first round.
Um,
No, they lost to Buffalo.
yeah. Uh, it's May and I'm already getting foggy.
Yeah, I think they lost to Buffalo because there's that whole um whatchamacallit. Was it Baltimore? It had to have been Baltimore because there was the whole logo thing.
Okay.
Like Tennessee beat Baltimore in Baltimore, and were like dancing on the
Oh,
logo and
yeah.
shit.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about now. Yeah, it's all ringing a
Yeah,
bell now. Yeah.
it was Baltimore.
Okay. Well, anything else?
That's all I saw this week so far.
Okay. Well, let's kick it over to our super early 2021 NFL team record predictions. I feel like I sound like a little bit of a broken record from last week because I got to point out once again that this is the first year we got the 17 game schedule going. And so that kind of changes things when you're looking at some of these numbers. I know the first time I started tallying them up, it just kind of takes a minute to be like, oh, yeah, there we go. Just got to get used to that new number. Uh,
Yeah.
but it's, hey, it's all good, man. It seems like we both kind of went fast and furious on it, but let's just go through and we'll kick it out by division, starting with the AFC, and then we'll work our way to the NFC if that works for you, and we'll see what we came up with here, man.
All right, sounds good.
All right, so let's see. Starting off with the AFC East, you want to just go first, or you want me to go first?
All right, I'll go first. I have Buffalo winning the AFC East again this year at 12-5. I
Okay.
have New England with an identical record, so Buffalo wins it on a tiebreaker at 12-5 with Buffalo and New England. Then Miami at 7-10, and I have the Jets at 2-15.
Oh, that's interesting. We were pretty close on this one. So I've got Buffalo winning it with a record of 14-3, New England in second at 13-4, and then I got Miami 7-10 and the Jets at 2-15.
Jeez.
So that's good. Let's see if we stay that close. I think last year when we did this, man, we were pretty far apart on some of
Yeah, I was over ambitious on some teams last year. The fucking Lions.
them.
And was way fucking off on the fucking Lions.
Yeah. So I mean, I think, just looking at this division before we move on, the things that I guess were significant to me is that New England had such a big offseason, and it looks like they're ready to bounce back. And I
Mhm.
think that their schedule is favorable where the stars are kind of aligning that they can have a double-digit win season. And then Miami, honestly, when I was picking their games, I don't know if I was just a little bit of a downer on them. I think maybe I'm a little bit skeptical that Tua's just going to come in and start tearing it up. It's kind of like I need to see him prove it because he was a little skittish last year, and so maybe some of that's why I came up with 7-10 for them. And then for the Jets, I just think it's tough. You got basically a whole new coaching staff. You got a rookie quarterback. There's a lot changing there. And so basically, they've got to establish an identity before I can really feel comfortable picking them winning over some teams.
Yeah, like the thing with Miami is Miami plays the NFC South, so that's a tough division to play any year, especially with Tom Brady down there. But um, and then they play the other division they play is I guess they play both Souths.
Okay.
So I mean you have a couple tough teams in the AFC South as well that they got, and that's what killed them on their record this year. Is I think their schedule, just looking at it, it's a lot harder than it was last year.
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah, that's a good assessment. Yeah. Okay, so anything else on the AFC East?
No, I think that's it. It's just New England. I hate picking them as high as I picked them. It's just their schedule I'm sorry, with the moves they made. It's ridiculous how much better this team's going to be in 1 year, and they reset the cap completely.
Yeah, it certainly looks like it's lining up to be that way. Could be a good bounce back year for them. All right, so let's kick it over to the AFC North next. And I'll let you go first again.
All right. I have Cleveland winning the division at 11-6.
Okay.
And interestingly, they won the division again on a tiebreaker over Baltimore at 11-6. I have Cincinnati at 7-10, and I really struggled to get this many wins for Pittsburgh. I have Pittsburgh at 4-13.
Damn, man, damn. All right, so here's where we start to separate. Um, so I had Baltimore winning it at 14-3, and I was skeptical about that number. And I think that if we looked at this a month from now and I had time to chisel away at it, it probably comes down. Because I think some of that shine on Lamar in the Ravens is starting to fade. But either way, that's the fast and furious super early prediction I got. Next, I've got Cleveland at 12-5. And I liked when I put their 12-5 together, I kind of skimmed it and real quick, it all like looked like it jived for me. And I just feel good about Cleveland this year. And I'm probably jinxing them by saying that. But uh, and then after that, I had Pittsburgh at 7-10. And I actually thought it was going to be less than 7 wins. But same kind of thing. I skimmed it and I thought, okay, a month from now, maybe I beat them up a little bit more. We'll see what happens. But then I've got Cincinnati at the bottom at 4-13, and I think it's a little bit of a similar thing is what I'm thinking with Miami almost, where it's like I just need to see this team kind of prove it a little bit. And I believe Burrow is going to do it. I actually believe Burrow is more capable than Tua. Like it's not even a question in my mind right
Hmm.
now. I just think that Cincinnati has a lesser roster around him, and I think that that's what could hold back this team. But we'll see. Maybe he comes in and he's the savior, and they light it up, and that's why you draft those guys number one overall. So you know.
Yeah, well, when I looked at it, like Cincinnati, like I said, I'm really high on Cincinnati. I think they're starting to get the pieces there to be a really good team. I really like what's his face?
Talking about
Ty-
talking about
yeah,
Burrow? No.
no, no. The when I look at the wide receiver that came out last year, Higgins.
Oh yeah, T. Higgins, and then yeah, they
Yeah,
drafted Jamar Chase. Yep.
yeah, and I think the running attack is sufficient. My concerns with Cincinnati is the offensive line. I
Yeah.
think they put some pieces on the defense, which is going to be better than it was last year. If Burrow gets through the season, I see Cincinnati taking a big step forward. And Pittsburgh, I'm just really down on what Pittsburgh's done. I think draft while yeah, I make fun of Pittsburgh because they had the worst running back room in the league last year. Then they drafted a running back this year, but that's kind of a luxury pick when you don't have the offensive line to protect your 40-year-old quarterback.
I agree. Yeah, and so when I look a month out, I can definitely see some shifting there on my predictions. I can see Cincinnati going up a little, maybe Pittsburgh coming down. I think Baltimore for sure comes down a couple games. Cleveland, I don't know. They might stay where they're at, but it just takes time. We just had the draft not all that long ago, and it's just kind of like plugging them into the model and just see where it comes in because we'll have a pretty good idea soon of who's going to end up filling out these starting lineups. And then I
Hmm.
think, like, at least for me, that's where it becomes much more scientific. Right now, basically, um, and I guess this is worth mentioning, my methodology was that I basically put everybody into like a power rankings of a sort. And then I just looked at the power rankings. Okay, this guy's at this level, this guy's at this level, this guy's on the road, this guy's at home, and kind of just like real quick, kind of fast and loose said, okay, here's what we're going to do. But the power rankings, I did look a little bit at the offseason moves and things like that to kind of say, okay, I think they jumped that team or they slid a little bit and this and that. But it was like kind of my fastest, loosest way of saying, let's just get it to a simple number, a simple ranking, and then let's just plug them in and see how they look on the schedule against each other.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, well, let's move it on to the AFC South. And
Uh,
yeah, go ahead. Yeah, we'll
all right.
keep going. You first and me second. Yeah.
So I have Tennessee winning the AFC South at 13-4. I have Indianapolis coming in at 11-6. And then I really am down on I'm a little higher on Jacksonville than Houston. I have both Jacksonville and Houston at 2-15.
Okay. Um, so I've got Tennessee winning it at 12-5, Indy at 11-6, Houston at 3-14, and I've got Jacksonville at 1-16. I just
So
couldn't find
pretty
another
close.
win. Yeah, that one's we're not too far off. And man, it was tough. Like I went through Jacksonville's and I'm like, I gotta believe they're gonna squeeze in at least another win or two somewhere. But just hey, the Fast and Furious was like, nope, I'm only getting them one, so I'm sticking with it for now.
Yeah, I think my second win was because I have them splitting with Houston, and then I have Jacksonville beating the Jets. Actually, that's so both of them. I have Houston and Jacksonville splitting, and both of their second win is against the Jets.
Oh, gotcha. Okay, sweetness. Um, yeah, in Tennessee, with 12 wins. Okay, so you had Tennessee at 13, you said?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, see, that's the one I like Tennessee, and I'm a huge Vrabel fan, but I did wonder, is 12 wins a little much for them? Um,
Yeah, I can see that, and I wondered it too. Like, I mean, the concern obviously is Arthur Smith, the offensive coordinator, is now the head coach in Atlanta, and to see how they respond to not having or to different offensive coordinator. But when you look at their schedule, I mean, they play the
yeah,
NFC West, which is brutal, and they play the AFC East. So yeah, I can see where you're saying on that. Like they have a tough schedule this year.
yeah, yeah, that'll be another one. I'll be interested to see if I drop them down a couple spots as we get closer to the season. It just seems like something's missing in Tennessee. I don't know.
Yeah.
I like them, but it seems like either they're missing the depth or they're just missing like that one extra like stud player, probably on the defensive side of the ball. But who knows? We'll figure it out as we get closer. All right. Any other thoughts on the AFC South?
Um, the thing that held me back a little bit on Indianapolis and gave me pause was how Carson Wentz is going to react or how he's going to come out. Like everything points to he's going to have go back to like his form and the MVP, well, not his MVP season, but his
Close to,
season
yeah.
or close to MVP season where he was playing at an MVP level because Frank Reich was the offensive coordinator there. And I mean, it concerns me. Like, I want to see in the offseason how he seems to be adapting and how he's playing to like in the preseason games, one or two of them, just to before I solidify them as my final playoff team.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. I think it's a little bit of a wild card with Wentz for sure. And if if he picks up where he left off in Philly, it could be a train wreck for Indy that's basically Super Bowl ready if they get the right quarterback. So,
Hmm.
okay. So then moving it on here to the AFC West. What you got there, James?
So I have Kansas City winning it at 15-2. Um, and their second loss is the last week of the season because they have the first seed locked up.
Okay.
I have the Chargers coming in at 10-7, the Raiders at 9-8, and the Broncos at 9-8.
Okay. Oh, so you got these guys winning some games overall. Okay. So I had Kansas City also at 15-2. After that, I had the Chargers at 9-8, and then I had Denver at 7-10, and the Raiders at 5-12. And I tell you, I'm down on the Raiders, man. I think they had a really shitty offseason. I wasn't a big fan of their draft either. I mean, not just like free agency, but the draft, the combination, the way they just kind of like shredded the offensive line. And hey, I get it, man. The guys last year it was a mess. They couldn't all get on the field at the same time together. But I don't know. I just don't see a very good plan with that team. It just kind of looks like they're in disarray to me from the outside looking in. I don't see. I don't know. And so I think some of that's gonna be seen on the field this year, and it could be a problem. I think in the reality, if they do go 5-12, I gotta believe they're gonna be making a change here with Gruden. This is
Hmm.
kind of like a put up or shut up year for them, and I don't know. I just don't think they really did a good job this offseason, my opinion.
Yeah. So I had misheard you. So you have the Chargers at 9-8, and then Denver at
7-10. Yep.
7-10. Yeah, I heard you say you had. I thought I heard you say the Raiders at 9-8 and the Chargers at 5-12.
Oh, who knows? I'm getting a little tired. Maybe I slipped it
Yeah,
up there. Could have
yeah.
happened. But yeah, no,
Well,
you clarified the record. We're good.
yeah. And so I was like, how the hell do you have the Chargers at 5-12? Like everything's showing that Herbert's going to be a stud in this league. I mean, he had a phenomenal season. He's going to take a step forward. He's going to have more time. They got rid of their head coach and playing a coach, or to have a coach that will actually call it, has time management. And it's like I see everything I see with the Chargers. They're just there. They're right on the cusp of becoming a playoff team and going in the right direction. They got some protection for Herbert. I mean, they got some weapons. Yeah, they lost what's his face, Hunter Henry
Yep.
at tight end, but I mean they have weapons. They have a running game. Everything's set up for this team to be good. And with Denver, the reason I had them at 9-8, and it's it's not going to make sense when we get to the NFC North, but I was kind of hedging it a little bit because I really think that Rodgers is going to end up in Denver for
Okay.
the regular season. So it's like I can't quite be too down on Denver.
I gotcha. Yeah, and I honestly I like what Denver's doing. I like Vic Fangio. I think it's going to help them getting Von Miller back this year. Um, it is the quarterback question that's the big question for them. And if they can get some decent play, whether it's Drew Lock finally coming around or Teddy Bridgewater just being slow and steady, win the race kind of thing, or whatever it is, I think that they could make a push and be a borderline playoff team because the defense is solid and they got a lot of pieces. They definitely got a lot of pieces on offense now too with Noah Fant, all the wide receivers they got, and so I could definitely see them shifting and having a better year than what I'm showing them at right now. Um, and the Rodgers thing is interesting because I built this with the assumption that he's going to stay and play in Green Bay. And who knows, man? There is like more fuel being poured on that fire every week.
Hmm. Yeah. There's a lot of fuel being poured on that fire, and it's like when I look at Denver's schedule this year, they have a lot of very easy winnable games. Like I mean, they play the NFC East, which I think again is going to be the worst division in football, and I mean, they got Jacksonville on there, and have the Jets on there. It's a really, but then again they have the AFC North in there too. So it's like they have a lot. Looks like a lot of easy games in there, but they have some tough games. And the crossover game, the extra game this year is against the Lions.
Yeah, it's interesting you said that. I was just trying to go through and sum up some of mine to see who I have as like the weakest division. And you know what? We'll come back to that later on because I wanna look at that because I think I got the NFC North kind of down low, but I've also got I know the AFC South for sure I've got kind of low just because two of their teams at the bottom I really have like almost no
Hmm.
wins. But uh, okay, all right, I got you. So anything else on the AFC West that you want to talk about? Well, I guess let me ask you this. So you said for Kansas City you had them winning the last game of the year because I mean losing the last game of the year because it's just a throwaway game. Who else did you have them losing to? I'm just curious.
Uh, Let me find it. I had them losing to Vegas again this year.
Okay, I was curious about that because yeah, Vegas got them last year. I didn't do that for mine, but for mine, I mean, hey, it's who knows what could happen. I got them being upset on the road by Washington, and also by not necessarily a huge upset, but losing to Tennessee. And I'm super high on Washington, man, and so
Hmm.
we'll talk more about them in a little bit. In fact, I got them up next with the NFC East.
All right, my worst division in football again has the winner sub 500 this year
No shit.
with
Okay.
Dallas at 8-9.
Gotcha. Gotcha.
Then I have the Giants at 5-12.
Okay.
Then I just kind of threw them in any order. I have them with the same record, Philadelphia and Washington at 3-14.
Damn. See, you're hurting my feelings, man. I was so high on Washington. And, I mean, here's the thing. I'm high on Washington because I love the defense. And I think they have weapons on offense. And, if Fitzpatrick works his magic, I think that this team could be solid. My one piece of apprehension is that can Fitzpatrick do it over the course of a season, or are the wheels going to fall off halfway through like they typically do with him? But when I did my rankings, I gave him the benefit of the doubt, and I got Washington lighting it up and going 12-5.
Jeez.
Then I got Dallas at 9-8, which Dallas is a tough one because honestly, when I look at them on paper, I still see a ton of talent on that team. Just with how much of a train wreck it was last year, I couldn't see them getting higher than 9 wins at least right now. After that, I got the Giants at 7-10, and then I got Philly as one of my worst teams. I got them at 1-16. And that's tough because I want to see Jalen Hurts do some good stuff. And man, I don't know what it is. I think that their offensive line's going to be better because these guys are going to be healthy. And I know that they're usually pretty good at like restocking, but it's like when I'm looking at this roster, it just looks the weakest I've seen in a really long time.
Hmm. Well, my problem with Philly is I don't think Jalen Hurts is a starter. I think he's a backup. I don't think he showed enough last year. Obviously, they had to get rid of Wentz because everything went to hell with Wentz, but I don't think he showed enough last year to be the unequivocal guy there. I think they need a quarterback. I think their offensive line's getting old, starting to get older. They don't really have the receiver talent that they need. I mean, it's just their defense looks down this year. Like I just plus the schedule that the NFC East probably has the toughest crossover games, especially Washington, because their Washington's extra game against the AFC is against Buffalo.
Hmm.
In addition to that, they play the NFC South and they play the AFC West.
Yeah, I'm sure I'm being overly aggressive with Washington. But here's the thing, like I had them getting some wins that maybe on paper you would think not, that I just kind of thought lined up well for them. And so, for example, I had them beating New Orleans at home in week 5, and I thought, that's a good game for them in my mind going up against Jameis Winston. Let's get pressure on that guy, have him make some bad decisions, throw some picks, and that game just falls into Washington's lap as long as they don't return it with turnovers. Um,
Hmm.
and then I just kind of thought similar kind of situation in Denver potentially. It's all going to depend on who's playing quarterback, but if they can get pressure like they can get pressure, I think that's a winnable game. And then I had them winning on the road against Carolina. I think that's. I mean, I don't know. I think that's a winnable game either way. But I don't know. Like it just kind of it went that way for me, and I thought, you know what? I'm going to get behind these guys this year, and maybe all the magic was with Alex Smith last year. Uh, but I don't know. I think that this defense is for real, man.
No, I agree. This defense I really like. I don't like Fitz, Fitz fuck,
Yeah,
Fitz Magic or
Fitzpatrick.
Fitzpatrick. I keep wanting to call him Fitzgerald. So
I
every
got
time I
you.
go to say it, I don't think he's the answer there. He's too inconsistent. I do have them with a surprise upset over Tampa Bay.
Okay.
Um, but like I mean I just look at their schedule and it's brutal. Like I mean, they got Buffalo, they have Green Bay, they have Tampa
Yeah.
Bay, they have New Orleans, Kansas City.
Yeah, you're right. I think the losses are going to be they're going to be tough losses, but
Yeah. Seattle.
yeah, and I actually I got them beating Seattle, and I think that was kind of one of my upset games where I was like, I think they get the pressure on Russell Wilson. We saw him, what was it,
Mhm.
last year against the Rams, that they just like totally shut down Seattle's offense. And like Seattle was just like plowing through people at that point of the year. And I thought, if it could happen this year, that would be the game. Washington would just come in and be like, no way, man, we're just going to stuff you. We're just going to smother you on defense. But, like I said, probably being a little aggressive. But you got to have fun with these things. All right. Anything left to hit on the NFC East?
No, I think that was about it.
Okay. Well, let's go to our favorite, the NFC North.
All right. I have Green Bay winning the division at 12-5, assuming Rodgers is there. I know I hedged Denver a little bit because assuming Rodgers was being traded to Denver, but I think I think even without Rodgers, Green Bay, because of the division, can win 10 to 12 games. Whether it's Jordan Love, it's Blake Bortles. I think without Rodgers, the Green Bay is right around there, right around the without Rodgers 9 to 11. With Rodgers, probably 12 is the floor for their wins.
Well, maybe it's with Teddy Bridgewater.
Maybe. I have Chicago at 6-11.
Okay.
I have Detroit and Minnesota with identical 5-12 records.
Gotcha. Okay. So we're fairly close on this one. I've got Green Bay winning it at 12-5. After that, I got Minnesota at 7-10. Then I got Chicago 6-11. And last but not least, I got Detroit at 3-14. So we're a few games apart on it, but we're spot on with Green Bay and Chicago.
Yeah. Well, no. Well, you had
Didn't
Chicago
you say
6-11.
12
Yeah.
and 5? Yeah.
12-5 and 6-11. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I with Green Bay, like I said, I think their floor with Rodgers is 12 wins. I think they could easily win more than 12 this year if they have Rodgers. Chicago, I don't like the prospects of Andy Dalton being the quarterback there. I think
Yeah.
Andy Dalton's pretty much done. I like Justin Fields, but when is Fields gonna be the starter? Plus, like, I mean, the NFC North has the Lions, sorry, have a brutal schedule. The North, what divisions? They play the AFC North and the AFC or NFC West, which are two really tough divisions to play against.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll tell you, I've actually I've got Detroit losing their first 7 games, man. Like I think it's going to be tough for them out of the gate, and it doesn't open up until they play Philly in week 8.
I have them losing 6 of their first 7. I have them beating Cincinnati,
Okay. See,
and that was a close one for me.
yeah, I was close on that one too, but I thought, you know what, man, I think Burrow is ready to go. And I just
Hmm.
kind of thought with how brutal it's going to be for Detroit before that, it could just be like, up, just pile it on here, guys.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I like the mentality and the players that Detroit's bringing in for Campbell. Yeah, Campbell. Um, I like his perceived toughness, and they're finding those players that fit that mold.
Yeah. And I do like their offseason. And honestly, I could see Detroit winning a lot more than this. But you know, for now, my down and dirty has them at 3-14. And as we get closer to the year, I'm sure I'll start drinking the Kool-Aid and I'll ratchet it up a notch. But you know, I still think they're a bottom tier team. You know, for sure for now until I do a little bit more homework on them.
Yeah, well, I was a couple weeks ago. What's her face? Freeland, Cynthia Freeland or whatever.
Yeah.
From she had done her put out her statistical analysis win totals, and I mean she had Detroit at 4.3.
Yeah, I
So
think
it's
she
like
was
right
being
in there.
generous. Yeah, I think I told you
Yeah,
that. She was being generous.
yeah. I mean, so three to 3 to 5, I think, is about the right spot for Detroit coming into this year. Is my point.
Yeah. Yeah. And hey, maybe we'll get a miracle. Goff will like just light some people up and we'll be like, oh, you know, if we got to 8 wins, I'd be like, yes. But then
Yeah,
I'd be like, no, you rooted our draft pick.
what the hope for Goff is the Lions have a low win total, but Goff shows a lot to where the Lions can trade him and spin him for a couple of extra picks.
That probably would be the best case scenario for us. Yeah. So we still get a premium draft pick and then we add another pick by spinning him out. We get our quarterback of the future. Yeah, and then maybe we go sign Teddy Bridgewater to be a mentor for a year while that guy gets up to speed.
Yeah, and ultimately end up getting 3 or 4 first round picks for Stafford.
Yeah, I mean that's the dream scenario, man. And I don't know, I'd go after Fitzpatrick actually, not Teddy Bridgewater. Let's get Fitzpatrick in here. Let's get him on one more squad. Let him groom a young guy, and then he can go right off into the sunset.
Yeah, he's going to retire some soon. Probably he'll retire before he signs with the Lions, I think.
We'll see. We'll see.
I think what we do is, and this might be controversial, is we call up Houston and try to offer Houston a third or fourth round pick for Watson, because that's a huge clusterfuck that's going on down there with Watson. And
Yeah. So maybe, yeah, maybe it's like almost like an Antonio Brown situation where you're
hmm
like, he'll be back. It just might be a while. And we'll throw you like a middle of the road pick just to roll the dice and ride it out. Because even if we had to
hmm
wait until 2022, it would be well worth our while if he did come back. I get
yeah,
what you're
exactly.
saying. Yeah, that's an interesting thought. Okay, done with the North.
Yeah, I don't want to rag on the Lions too much tonight. I'm in a good
Okay,
mood.
yeah, for now. Okay, let's go to the South. NFC South. What you got there, James?
All right, so I have Tampa winning the NFC South at 15-2. I have New Orleans coming in second at 11-6. I have Carolina at 8-9, and I have Atlanta at 6-11.
Okay. Yeah. So we were close at the top, but we were pretty far apart at the bottom. And yeah, so I had Tampa Bay at 15-2. I had New Orleans at 10-7. After that, I dogged them hard. I had Atlanta at 5-12 and Carolina at 3-14. And the Carolina one pained me, man. I just when I was doing this, all I could think about was Sam Darnold not being the guy, man. And I was looking at these teams and I'm like, could Darnold beat this team? No. Could Darnold beat that team? No. And I don't know. I like what they did last year. This team was in games all throughout last year, and that was without Christian McCaffrey for a lot of the season. And so I'm sure I'm just being super negative on him, and I'll come around. But like the quarterback thing bothers me, man. I'm just not thrilled with Darnold at all.
Hmm I see. I like Darnold. I think Darnold has possibilities. I think the league did him a favor by putting him up against the Jets week one. I think that's anybody playing the Jets at quarterback. I mean, that's just a confidence builder. And then week three they have Houston, and week five they have Philadelphia. Like, I mean, their schedule at the beginning is somewhat easy, and I think that's where they got the majority of the wins. Like, I have them losing their last five of their last six games.
Okay,
So I mean, it's just the beginning of the schedule I thought was a little bit on the easier side.
sure, yeah, no, hey, that makes sense. Okay, so was it you telling me the thing about Tom Brady about the Super Bowl trophies and he would have given up three of them to have the
Yeah.
undefeated season or whatever?
Hmm
Man, I want to know because it's just this is an unprecedented thing the way that they're returning all these guys. I mean, I know it's happened before, but it's rare, super freaking
Oh,
rare, man.
this is from what I heard. This is the first time in the Super Bowl era they returned all 22 starters, all coordinators and the head coach, and to the next year.
It just seems like if a team was going to do it of this era, it would be
Hmm
them. And
No, I could.
I could see the stories now, We're on a 17 game schedule and right off the bat we've got an undefeated team.
Mm, yeah, exactly. Like, when I went through the schedule, I struggled to find losses on their schedule.
Yeah.
It's like I was like I can't predict them to go undefeated. That's
Yeah,
just ridiculous.
yeah, you forced a few of them in there. I got you.
Yeah.
Okay, well here, let's kick it off to the NFC West, man. And I'll just tell you, I like this division, but
I
you know, yeah,
I love this division. I think the NFC West is the hardest division in the entire league. I have the Rams winning the division at 14-3. Tied I have Seattle with a 14-3 record also. The Rams won the tiebreaker. It's weird going through the schedules, and I have three divisions where the top two teams have identical records.
yeah. I was kind of surprised. I didn't have any of those tiebreakers at the top like I did last year, which made it easy on me. But that'll
Yeah.
probably change the next time around. So
And then I have San Francisco in third at 13-4.
damn.
And I have Arizona at 7-10.
Oh, you're a little down on Arizona. I thought you would have been higher on them.
I thought I would have been too, but I think they have a tough schedule. Like, I
Okay.
mean, uh, they play the AFC South, they play the NFC North, and they play their crossover, their extra game is Cleveland.
Gotcha.
So I just looked at their schedule and I thought it was a tough schedule
Yeah.
how it lined up, and I think that's why I have them at 7-10. It's just, I mean, they
Okay.
were third in division last year. So I mean, this is basically the record. They were 8-8 last year. So it's basically what they were last year, maybe a little bit worse, but that's
Yeah,
because
it's
of
in
the
the
toughness of the
range.
schedule.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, you could argue that, Kyler Murray had some magic to win him a couple games last year that maybe this year it's not as lucky, but they just are a better team and so they're in there. I don't know, man. I'm liking the J.J. Watt signing and then what they
Hmm.
did in the draft, and I got them winning a couple more, but not like crazy. So here I'll just give you mine. So I got at the top, which this is one I'm a little bit skeptical on, but I just ran with it. I got San Fran winning it at 13-4. Then I got the Rams and the Seahawks both at 12-5, and last I got Arizona at 10-7. I mean,
And
either
then really
way,
we're not that far off on the division
yeah, yeah. And I mean,
records.
either way, it's like, I'm going to add it up right now, but I'm sure these guys are like solidly the best division I got on here. Let's see. I want to do my math here.
Yeah, I have it 48-20.
Yeah, and I had them at 47 wins. Yeah. So let's see. I got the AFC South at 27 wins. It's just because I got Houston and Jacksonville like basically doing nothing, man.
Yeah, I have the South at 28. I have the AFC North at 33, the AFC East at 30, 33, the AFC West at 43. Let's see,
Yeah,
NFC North at 29, no, 28. NFC South 40, and the NFC East at 19.
19. Holy cow. Okay. Yeah, I've got the NFC West solidly at the top with 47.
Hmm.
And then I've got the AFC South at the bottom with 27. And then most of them are in the mid 30s, something like that, mid high 30s. But yeah, man, it's hmm, the early, super early look, man. The super early look.
Yeah, and we were talking about like last year the NFC West going into the season, even during the season before like San Francisco started to drop off. We were
Yeah,
talking about how like at one point we were talking asking questioning if all four teams in the NFC West could make the playoffs. And with like San Francisco is getting, assuming they get the players back from injury, and I mean they had a whole shitload of injuries last year and still won 6 games. Assuming they get those back, I mean, they should be reverse. Like they should be just as good as they were 2 years ago, looking to potentially make the Super Bowl this year. The Rams, the Rams just are only get better. I think
yeah,
Stafford is better than Golf and for McVay's offense. I think Seattle's better. Seattle's record is more of a little bit of an easier schedule because, but it's like their crossover, their extra game is Pittsburgh,
okay,
and I'm really down on Pittsburgh.
yeah, yeah.
Even
I'm
even
down on
though I
them.
have even though I have Seattle losing to Pittsburgh on that one. Wow, huh? That's weird.
Yeah. Hey, it's all good, man. Okay, well, I guess let me ask you, anything else you want to hit on the schedule, or on the record predictions? This will be our fastest show in a while, but they don't all have to be 2 hours.
Well, I like how the league did it this year. It seems like week 18 is all divisional games, and some of them come in and potentially decide the division. Like
Yeah.
I was trying to glance through to see. Actually, I don't think I have any of my tied divisions those teams playing. That's interesting. Poss- Possibly the Rams beating San Francisco because I have San Francisco at 13-4 and the Rams at 14-3. That'll be an interesting game to look out for this year.
Oh yeah. Could be
Last
yeah.
week of the season.
Yep.
That's about it. I'm pumped for football to be here. I miss missing football.
Yeah, me too, man. And I was telling you last week, I think it was, that if they go back to full stadiums, that's you know, I mean, hopefully everybody's safe, but that's where you're going to get the best football. The
Hmm.
crowd's just going nuts, and that's what I want to see, man. I want to really get that intensity level back up there. This past year, I mean, hey, I'm just glad that we actually had a full season with the way it was looking. But it was weird watching some of those games, man. And then the other games where they were like pumping in the crowd noise on the TV, that bothered me
No,
because you
that
could
was
see,
terrible.
yeah, you could see like there's nobody there. Like, what are they doing? It just, I don't know. It was messing with my head, man.
Yeah, there's something I just thought of with the schedule. There's a couple little quirks where like a team basically plays two games in a row against the same team with a bye week in the middle.
Okay. Yeah,
It
that's a
might have
little
just been the
funky.
one. I think it was somebody. I think it was against, and it was like a tough team that they were playing. Was it
Gotcha.
Cleveland and it was it was
Oh, Cleveland with Baltimore.
yeah. That's the one it was. That was weird when I went through the schedule.
Yeah, so it's okay. So they're at Cleveland's at Baltimore, then they have a bye, and then they're at home against Baltimore. So it's like, hey, if you don't get them on the road, you got a week to figure out how to get them at home.
Yeah, and then I thought there was another one that did that.
Let's see.
Like
Let's take a look.
I know there's a few where they play two games against the same team within 3 weeks.
Yeah.
But I thought there was another one that played basically consecutive games against the same team.
That's the only one I'm
Yeah,
seeing.
that's the only one I'm seeing too. Must have been just the like playing twice in 3 weeks.
Okay. Well, that's cool. All right. Well, here, let's do question of the week, man.
All right, sounds good.
So I I was just going to put it out there, and I'm changing the question of the week, by the way. I was going to put it out there that we need somebody to help us pick a topic for next week. That was going to be my question of the week. But since you talked about the Hoyer stuff in New England, I want to change the question of the week to, will Cam Newton be the Patriots starter in week one? Or do you think the Hoyer signing was a sign that they're going to change the guard sooner than later? I mean, everybody talked about Mac Jones being the most pro ready guy out of the group of quarterbacks this year. Um, well, I guess minus Trevor Lawrence, it was out of the next tier of guys. Could this be Belichick saying, let's just do it now? Because they are two, I'm talking Mac Jones and Cam Newton, two totally different style quarterbacks. That it's like maybe he's thinking, instead of doing this in week 5 or week 8 or whatever, where everybody's got to kind of adjust because they're so different. Let's just get it done now, and let's bring in the right guy to kind of help teach them the ropes now. And I'll say no. I'll say Cam's going to be the week 1 starter, but I think Mac Jones takes over before halfway through the year.
So see, a struggle with it with when Mac Jones takes over for New England is when their bye week is. Most teams when they have a rookie quarterback coming in, they like to do it off a bye, so they have that extra little bit in between or to prepare them for that first game. Uh, but New England's schedule is
It is
looks
funky. It's a week 14 bye.
yeah, they have the week 14 bye, but I think I think Cam starts week 1 and then Jones takes over in week 2.
You think it's that fast?
Yeah. Because when you look at their schedule, it'll be week 2 or it'll be week 5.
Yeah, I was thinking week 5 because
Yeah.
you
But
know,
thinking about it, it'll be week 5, not 2.
yeah, because
Because
Houston's soft, and then they get 2 at home with the Jets
mhm,
being soft in week 7. That could be a good transition.
yeah. And I don't think they would want him. What pushed me to week 5 was I don't think they would want Mac Jones to have to play against that Tampa Bay defense.
Yeah, yeah, don't start him there, or early on give him there. Like
Yeah.
yeah, give him
Because
give him something easier. Yeah,
because I mean they start out with Miami and the Jets, which I mean Miami had a tough defense last year. The Jets were kind of soft, and then they have New Orleans and Tampa Bay. So I mean
yep,
that's kind of a rough first 4 games. And then after that, they have a little bit of a period where it's a little bit easier before they get to Cleveland in week 10.
yeah. I agree with that logic. I like it.
Yeah, so I'm thinking week 5 is when Mac Jones starts, they
Unless
they
Cam's rolling.
unless Cam's rolling. Yeah, like I mean, if they start out 2-2 or worse week 5, if they start out 3-1, 4-0, then they might stick with Cam a little longer.
I'm with you. All right, cool. So, all right, for anybody who's watching, that's the question of the week. So, just like name that stadium, we want your opinion. Pop it in our comments section. Let us know what you're thinking. Um, James, we got to come up with a topic for next week. And so, even though that wasn't our question of the week, that's a question for you and I to figure out sometime between now and next Friday. We got plenty of time to come up with something, do a little bit of homework.
Yeah,
So, if you come up with something, let me know. And I was thinking about it. We're 6, 7 weeks away from where we started last year, and so we've only got to bridge the gap for a handful of weeks, and then we'll just start doing what we did last year at this time.
yeah, exactly.
Go back over and rerun that trail. So, okay, cool. Well, any final thoughts for tonight, James?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. Well, that's all I had. So, for anybody who's watching, we hope you like the show. We definitely want to get your opinion on some of this stuff. Hit us up with those comments. And if you did like it, give us the thumbs up. If you really like us, hit the subscribe button. But we appreciate the support nonetheless. And James, like always, man, it's been fun.
Yeah, it was blast.
All right, I'll catch you later, man.
All right, yep, have a good one.
Gridiron Grinder. Hut hut hike.